Welcome to Heli Headlines, your weekly 5-minute update from the Hillsborough Heli Academy. It's the 4th week of August, and as summer winds down, we've got a lot happening across the Academy. Each week we're going to be bringing you community highlights, updates from around the campus, and maybe a safety thought or two to keep your flying sharp and professional. I want to start this week with a look back at our annual heli camping trip. Every year this event is one of the most anticipated gatherings of the season. It's a chance for students, instructors and friends of the Academy to come together, swap stories around the campfire, and when weather allows, arrive by style in helicopter. This year, as you all know, Mother Nature had other ideas. The forecast took a turn and the conditions weren't suitable for the flying in. So, with the exception of one Mike Romeo, the helicopter stayed on the ground at Troutdale. I think this is an important time to pause and give credit where it's due. It can be hard to change course when you've planned for weeks, months, years in some cases for an event. There's always that temptation to just make it work and push ahead. But what we saw instead was a group of pilots who made them very mature, professional call, and safety came first. That decision shows exactly the kind of judgment that I want every pilot to bring to the table. Whether it's a camping trip, your training flight, your first solo, it's a very, very important part of our training here, and I am just really proud of the team that they stuck to their guns with that. Even without the helicopters, of course, the event was still a huge success. People came together, we built community, and it was a reminder that aviation isn't just about flying. It's also about the people and the culture around it. The timing is really interesting with this, because just this week, Vertical Magazine published an article on the dangers of planned continuation bias. If you haven't heard that term before, it could also have been called gotta get there-itis, gotta get home-itis. Basically, it just describes the trap that pilots can fall into when they keep pressing forwards with the plan, even if the situation has changed. Imagine yourself planning that first cross-country flight, or maybe that first solo, where when you're en route, the weather starts deteriorating. Maybe you've got a CFI waiting on the ramp, or maybe you just got something else that day. And so you push through the worsening weather and you can think, I can just make it through. That's planned continuation bias at work. The reality is that this bias is one of the leading contributors to weather-related accidents. When we're invested in a plan, we naturally want to stick with it. That's just how human minds work. But ADM, and good ADM, means being willing to adapt and when necessary stop. I think our heli camping organization group modeled this perfectly. They recognized the conditions weren't safe and they chose the better option. No one likes cancelling a flight, clearly, but professionalism in aviation is always about making it to your destination, and it's about making the safe call every single time. If you really want to dig deeper on this, I highly recommend the Vertical Magazine article about this. It's a really short piece, but it's a great reminder that safety isn't about luck, it's about discipline and decision making. I also need to obviously shout out the biggest news of heli camping and congratulate Drew and Vivian on their engagement. I think that made it quite special for a lot of people there. Heli camping normally signals the end of summer, and now we're entering that transitional time of year where the good weather is about to taper off. We've got a few weeks left of consistently reliable conditions, and that means it's a perfect time to prioritize your night flights and solo flights. These requirements can get a lot trickier to complete in the winter, and especially later in the winter, when shorter days and more variable weather, rain, wind, etc. really starts cutting into that availability. If you've been waiting for the right time to schedule that night cross country or to knock out those solos, now's the moment. Take advantage of the weather while you can and get those flights on the books. Clearly, weather has been a theme this week, and let's close off with a quick safety tip. Remember that weather decision-making isn't just about the big picture forecast. It's about building margins into your flying. For example, if the minimum requirement for your flight is 3 miles of visibility, ask yourself, do I really want to be flying at the bare minimum, or should I give myself a buffer and just not go if I have that 5 or 6 miles? The same goes for ceilings. If you're legal to go at 1,000 feet, you should be asking yourself if that really gives you enough margin for comfort. Good pilots don't just follow the minimums. They give themselves room to maneuver if things change. That no-go decision isn't something you make once and then put away. It's a constant rolling evaluation. Conditions change during a flight, especially during some of these longer flights. If they deteriorate, you always want to have an out, whether that's turning back, diverting, or just landing and waiting it out. It's better to be on the ground wishing you're in the air than in the air wishing you're on the ground. So that's it. That was this week's Heli Headlines. Thank you for listening and being part of the Hillsborough Heli Academy community. We'll be back next week with more updates, more stories, and maybe another quick safety tip or two. Until then, fly safe, study hard, and we'll see you around.